Ready Set? Do we have the trailer for Ready Set Bag? You have that. Maybe that's a good way to start. Just in maybe just like 30 seconds to give people a feeling, and then we'll start with you, and you can kind of explain some of the things.
Decided to support food banks on the way to do that. So we give $1 for every ticket we sell to local food banks in all the towns that we screen in. And that was kind of cool. We did a couple screenings here in the Bay Area this past winter. Funded about 4,000 meals doing that. But to get out to a larger audience, we partnered with Groupon. They were talking earlier today on stage. And we were the first film to premiere on Groupon in Seattle this past Sunday, we're pleased to report. Pre-sold 294 tickets 2 weeks before the screenings even started. Had about a 300,000 deep impression in the Seattle metropolitan area, and now we're selling tickets and supporting food banks a bucket ticket as well, so we may actually fund over 1,000 meals in our one-week run in Seattle alone. After doing that, many other theaters across the country are peppering me on my cell phone right now today, this morning, trying to book us and take us out elsewhere in the country. So we're trying to change the way independent films distributed and support nonprofits while doing it.
And so, how does
Bang, how about that? Yeah, right, there you go, come on, wake up, let's go.
How are you able to offer discounts? You're doing that in partnership with theaters, obviously, right?
Yeah, so when we contact independent exhibitors who have a theater, in particular the Central Cinema in Seattle is one of these movie theaters that's really a restaurant. They have like a full menu, nachos, margaritas, wine, stuff. So for them, they're like a badminton restaurant for the most part. So as long as you can get foot traffic to them, they love us. And Groupon, of course, moves people. That's great. And so doing that with the food bank together gets us into an exhibitor who wants foot traffic.
And how many people showed up to that theater? How many people?
Well, it hasn't happened yet. That's the thing. No, we Groupon last Sunday, and we start premiering next Friday.
So you pre-sold.
That's right.
300 tickets.
I know exactly the people who are coming to exactly what screening 2 weeks before they show up, which is unprecedented in theatrical exhibition.
Wow, amazing.
FYI.
Okay, so let's jump from that to dentistry. What?
You got a video too? Yeah.
Tell us about how long your wife's been in practice and what gave you the idea that you needed to be on different social media networks. What do you use? What's effective?
Sure. So my wife has been in practice actually for close to a decade now. She's practiced in New York, in Vegas, and now we're back in San Francisco, where both of us were from. So the challenge that we essentially faced, she's been practicing for a long time, but in San Francisco the practice was relatively new and is now just a little over a year old. The challenge that we faced is that as a professional services company, we need to educate. Before anybody makes a buying decision, they have to be educated. They have to be educated on the service, they have to be sold on the professionals providing the service, so that is certainly a hurdle. The other hurdle is that as a small business, especially in a tight credit market, lending is not so free anymore, so we're obviously working on limited marketing budgets. So you kind of put those two things together, it ends up becoming a no-brainer, especially given the target market which we're trying to hit, which is all of you guys. A tech-savvy, informed public. That's who we want, that's who we love, and the reason we do is because that is the type of patient that my wife's service and her practice appeals to, which is a higher quality office.
And what are you using?
So what are we using? We're still testing a lot of things out, but Facebook in particular has been powerful. In the last month, I was just looking at our Google Analytics last night, and in the last month, 19% of our traffic came from Facebook. And our traffic, the trend, has been basically just, you know, an upward trend of traffic, the type of trend you
What do you
want
have
to
a
see.
Facebook page, and what do you do on Facebook?
We have a Facebook page, and we've been pushing out updates about reviews. We've been now definitely getting more active as far as actually having conversations out there. But we're trying to look at as many channels as possible. The bottom line, the way we look at it, is that the cost of doing these things is so minimal that why wouldn't we be out there? Why wouldn't we be in charge and in front of every channel, regardless of whether it's a social channel or not, that we can be?
So how many Facebook friends do you have, or fans?
Right now, it's relatively minimal. We're just above 100. But again, we literally really just went out there not too long ago and made a real push for it. And the reason for that, the reason for the waiting, was because we really wanted to make sure that our branding was correct.
How many of those have actually come in for deployment?
That's a little bit difficult to track right now, but we know that they are coming in. We have tracking on the back end set up with Google Analytics and whatnot. We're hearing from patients. The point is it's really just kind of starting to take off. We're doing Twitter, we're doing YouTube. So again, we don't really know where people, we do know where they're looking. We don't know at what point they're making the buying decision. And I think that's going to take a little bit more of backward looking.
So, let's talk about the creme brulee part. And do you use a variety of different channels, or do you focus mostly on Twitter?
I focus mostly on Twitter. I have a Facebook fan page, but like honestly, I don't really know how to use it. And I don't really like Facebook personally, like in my personal life, so I think that's why I haven't invested time in figuring out how to use it.
How many Twitter followers do you have?
12,400.
12,400. And you pretty much, you operate just out of San Francisco or the whole Bay Area?
Mostly out of San Francisco. I do have like things in other cities from time to time, but I mean I'm really busy, especially considering my company is only one person, which is me. So it's like baking, selling, marketing, scheduling. Luckily, my wife does like the receipts and whatever. I just dump them in a big pile. But I think that's why Twitter is so easy for me. It's 140 characters, and it's just like no fuss, no muss. And I also, I sort of started out my business like trying not to really sell the product and sort of like letting it sell itself. And I think because I sort of leave a big vacuum for marketing, that my customers kind of fill that in.
And why not just go to the same place every day?
Well, to begin with, it was sort of like an illegal operation, I guess. Now I'm like in a grayish area. But in the next month, I'll have a location. But the permitting process in San Francisco is a nightmare.
And do you have any sense of what percentage of your customers are Twitter followers versus they just come across your car on the street?
I don't have a sense. I mean, I would say like before I go to set up on a corner, if I see a bunch of people walking around looking at their phones, I assume that they're following me on Twitter. I would say like a majority of my customers either come from Twitter or have heard about it from people who are on Twitter. I mean, I do get a lot of people that say, you know, I want to find out what your card is, but I don't want to join Twitter, which I don't really have an answer because I'm, like I said, in a grayish legal area. So there's no real way to find me other than, you know.
And do you just tweet out your location, or do you have conversations with people ask you how to, recipes or you made it today?
I'm a little more mysterious than that. I mean, I don't just tweet out location. I try to add a little spice. I mean, I only do probably like 3 events a week. So I figure, you know, a few days before the event, I'll start talking about the flavors and maybe post a picture or something. And then I'll start sort of like saying, you know, where I'm going to be and then what time, and sort of try to build up a little bit of momentum. Because I know most people are checking their Twitter like in their office or whatever,